This is Eric Rutan of Cannibal Corpse. You are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast with Andrew McKay Smith.
G'day everybody, I hope you're well. Welcome to the show. I've got a phenomenal conversation to share with you featuring Brian Ortiz, whose stage name is Itztlakamayeh. The group that he is at the centre of is titled Tzompantli. They have their second album out now. It is called Beating the Drums of Ancestral Force, and it is one of the albums of the year so far. I'll let Brian tell you all about that, the inspiration, the works. We go into it, of course, in addition to talking about regular stuff, current affairs, politics, what's happening across our globe, and plenty of other topics discussed. You know me by now. You're the podcast audience, and I tend to present to you the chats where there's no limits, and this is a very good example of it. So thank you very much to Brian for participating in the chat. The tune that I have selected for your listening pleasure is titled Teleo Huali. Once it's done, you'll hear from Brian. Let's go.
What's up? What's up?
G'day, mate. How you going?
I'm I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thanks for making it. You probably just found
Yeah,
out you
yeah.
had an interview, did you?
No. I knew I had it. I had it scheduled, and was like 10 minutes left. I was checking my email thread that I have with Dave, and I'm like, hey, where's the Zoom link? So I shot him a text,
Cool.
and then yeah, I missed the email that he linked me in right now. So I was like, well, I saw it. I was like, oh, and I jumped up and came right over there.
Sweet. Well, great to connect, mate. I've been enjoying what you guys are all about and what you're doing.
Hell yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
So, forgive me if I mispronounce the name here, but Tzompantli, is that correct?
Yeah, it's close enough. Yeah, it's Tzompantli.
Gotcha. Okay. So how does that reflect the band's identity? You know, because you've got this crushing heavy music, and you're the first of your kind, as far as I'm aware, as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's Nahuatl for just meaning skull rack, and it's definitely like it's centered around Mesoamerican mythology, specifically the Mexica, and I'm huge into like a lot of the history and stuff from Mexican indigenous folklore. My family's from Mexico, so just being tied to a lot of that stuff is pretty cool, and just kind of like I was a big fan of like a lot of the like indigenous black metal bands that were doing like something similar, but I just like there wasn't like any like kind of like death doom, I guess, like representation in that regard. So I death doom's like my favorite kind of subgenre. So I just kind of wanted to add it, add that to it, and I figure with how big death metal and death doom is getting at the moment, like I figured it was something that would be unique and kind of like stick out or stand out amongst a lot of the death and death doom that are going on. So yeah, that's basically how it kind of started. I grew up like here in like Los Angeles County, like it's I think we are the Mexican Americans and Central Americans we're kind of like the majority down here. So I've just always kind of been, I've always seen like the Aztec dancers growing up, and a lot of that stuff just I thought was just very, very cool, and I really wanted to like learn about it, of course. And then I just over the years I dug deeper, and then I always thought it would be cool to start like a band like how like Nile, not so much in the sound of Nile, but like how Nile is about the like Egyptians, the Egyptian themes. I just always kind of want to start like my version of that, but have it be like Mexican, like indigenous mythology and folklore and history. So yeah.
So you've talked about the interest in it, but what motivated it? Because there's one thing to have an interest in something and to passively get into something. It's completely different philosophy actually acting on it. Now, you mentioned that you wanted to do something similar to Nile, but in terms of your investigation and getting into the underlying the religious elements and the like, did that take a lot of research for you?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, I'm still learning. I'm still only scratching the surface with some of the like lore and mythology. So far, like the only like deities that I've like truly like sang about or like wrote about are the two main deities for the Mexica culture, which is Tlaloc and Huitzilopochtli, which is the god of war, fire. Tlaloc is the god of rain, thunder, and water. And there's still like a lot of other really cool and interesting deities that I'd like to like write about. I just want to, I'm definitely like, I definitely want to know what I'm writing about. I don't want to just go on there ignorantly and like, oh yeah, like I heard this about it. Like, what more write about it? Like, I definitely want to do my due diligence and then in that regard. But I would say like what motivated me was kind of go back to what I had said about the indigenous black metal bands that were kind of like influencing like, my taste in music and stuff like that. And I just always kind of wanted like my version of that. And like, I play in another band too, and we touch on like indigenous and like, indigenous subjects and stuff like that here and there, but it wasn't like the focal point. Like with this, I really wanted it to be like, this is what we are. I wanted to be like unapologetic about it. And, I just wanted to be way more explicit with the subject matter. And that I guess that was my main kind of like motivation. And I definitely wanted to kind of like, I don't know, just share the culture with everybody else, the rest of the world. I think it's really interesting. I'm a huge fan of just history, and I think sharing that kind of history is very, very important,
Something you've done, which I haven't dived into a lot of the lyrics yet. I've done that intentionally because I'll do that after we've had our conversation. I wanted to get background first, and I encourage everybody listening to do the same actually as well. But what you've done very tastefully is you haven't just added in traditional instrumentation because I feel like you've really thought about this. You've gone to the level where it's like if it needs it, that's where it's going to go. So it means often that it can be there for a few seconds and it disappears. It's just a part of it. It's like a feature. It's not the dominating aspect of it. So does that align with your systematic approach to adding those instruments?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely like with I mean, if you listen closely to the riff, sometimes like other than like the verse, chorus, verse part, anything after the verse, chorus, and verses, or like song structure of it, I mean, I'm still feel sometimes I feel I don't know what I'm doing, but a lot of riffs, some riffs just don't even come, they don't repeat each other. Like I'm a big fan of just like giving people just like a little taste, because I don't want it to get old, I don't want it to get become just too much where the listeners kind of getting like annoyed, like, oh, okay, this again, like, oh yeah, like okay, this is just repeating, which I'm a fan of stuff just repeating, because like I'm a huge Doom fan, but I feel like for the stuff I write, I kind of like to just give people like just a little glimpse of it, pull it back, continue with something else, and then maybe bring it back like later on in the song, or at a different point, just whatever feels right. That's kind of what I try to do, is just do whatever feels right to me. And then I like essentially I'm constantly just kind of trusting my intuition and just going with the flow, and I'm glad like people are really into it, and it seems to be a good formula that I've kind of found for myself,
Just with your connection to Mexico and Central America as well, have you ever tried or thought about trying ayahuasca?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever thought about trying ayahuasca if you haven't already done so?
I'm not even really, I'm aware of it. I just don't even never even tried, I've never come across like anyone that's ever done it or been offered it. So I've never even, it's not really on my radar, unfortunately. The only thing I've wanted to try is peyote.
Oh yeah.
Because peyote, and of course, like mushrooms are excellent too.
Yeah. Well, I journey with ayahuasca. Actually, I attend a shamanic circle.
And, nice.
And some of the things that, like I've got one coming up soon, and I find just before you start going into the shamanic circle, about a week or so beforehand, you become very sensitive to things. And when I was listening to your music, I felt like I was in the middle of it at times, just standing in the middle of it. And so you're definitely connected. Well, you're definitely connected to something esoteric, in that you're connected to something within your soul. And I believe that if you decide that ayahuasca was for you, she'd find you, because it's the high priestess, the goddess. She'll find you, and it's just that greater connection that she offers with your higher calling. And for you, man, doing peyote or ayahuasca, even psilocybin through mushrooms and the like, is just going to put you in greater touch with this wonderful creativity that you've got.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I've definitely, I've definitely done my fair share of mushrooms, and I say mushrooms is usually my go-to, because it's depending on how much you take them, it could be subtle or it could be pretty intense. And I've luckily had all, so it's I personally that's like my kind of go-to when I need to kind of like figure some shit out. And I've definitely done it not while I've been writing music, but definitely when I've been like when I've had like writer's blocks, and I definitely kind of like was able to kind of see, what I should probably do. Sometimes it would kind of like steer me to something else for just a very short period, just as a palate cleanser, which I have like a project that I do that for. And once I kind of like focus my energy on that for just a short period of time, usually it's only like a couple of weeks, kind of brings me back to, whatever I'm writing, like usually Tzompantli or my other band Shivalva.
Yeah, cool, man. Yeah. What about the fact that you're at the center of this group, but I understand there's almost a dozen other musicians that are involved. So how do you keep everything sounding so cohesive?
I mean, at the core, like it started out as a solo project, and like I wouldn't call it a solo project now. It's definitely more of a collective of musicians or like my friends. So like I basically kind of like just like write everything rhythmically, and then I have like my ideas and stuff for like the traditional instruments, the folk instruments, and I kind of just get all that stuff mapped out. And then with this record, what I did was recorded all the we did the drums. My good friend Alejandro, he plays in a band called Teeth. He sessioned for the drums, and we recorded the drums, bass, guitar. I recorded most of the bass, but our bass player Eric recorded some of the bass tracks, and then I just did all the rhythm guitars, and then like I did a couple of leads. But what I wanted to do was my friends, the musicians that help when we play live every now and then. I wanted to kind of include them. I thought it would be cool to like include them on like some of the solos and like guitar leads, just to kind of like make it a little bit more interesting. Sometimes I feel like guitar leads. I mean, it's very riff driven, but sometimes I feel like my guitar leads aren't the greatest. So I kind of just wanted to change it up a little bit, and I asked them to help out. Like I had certain members for certain songs. It's like, hey, I want you to come up with a lead here, and here on this song, and then that's kind of like what we did, and it ended up sounding really cool and kind of fresh for me. And then my engineer Erol, who he played drums on the last record. He helped out on a couple of leads too, and did a really fantastic job. And so yeah, that's essentially how it is. Like it's more of like a loose collective, like whoever wants to help out and with playing live, definitely is going to be part of the band. And then like with the percussion, we did a lot of percussion on the record, and same thing. Like I would just kind of have like a little basic bass beat, and then I would ask them to basically just like pretend like they were doing like a solo or something like within following that rhythm, and just kind of let them go ham for a little bit. I mean, we definitely did a couple of layers of the bass beat first, and then I would let them kind of just kind of go with the flow and just whatever happened, and then so it just felt a little bit more organic on some of the tribal parts. But yeah, that's essentially how it kind of it works. When we're getting ready to play shows, I mean it's pretty tricky to try and rile up 9 individuals. I mean in total there's probably about 13, or no, I'd say like 12 of us. But usually when we play live, we try to keep it to like eight to 9. But like I said, it's revolving, just who's ever willing and available.
Yeah. Something else, the artwork's fantastic. So I'm going to ensure that I include a significant grab of the artwork with the episode when it's posted. But is there a story behind the artwork, and who did you get to do it for you?
I got Adam Burke. He's done a lot of really good albums. One of them that comes to mind is the first Eternal Champion full length, I believe he did,
Yeah.
and like I had a bunch of references for him to look at, and then I was just like, hey, I want like a warrior that's kind of triumphant on a pyramid, and I definitely want a Tzompantli mixed in there, and if you could have other warriors kind of like around and cheering. And he was like, okay, cool. And he just kind of made that really cool scene. And that was essentially it. Like he kind of like showed me like a little sketch beforehand of what he had in mind, and I was like, yes, like let's do that. That looks fucking badass.
If you had all the money in the world, what would a video look like for you?
Oh man, man, I don't even know. I mean, I hate to say the movie because the movie is historically inaccurate, but if it could look something like Apocalypto, I would definitely do it. However, I love the movie for entertainment purposes. However, it's wildly inaccurate and just, yeah.
Is that the portrayal of the Mesoamerican culture or the warriors?
Is that
the portrayal of them that's more wrong?
So, a lot of things. So it's supposed to be the man. You're gonna go down. You're gonna make me go down this rabbit hole. So it's supposed to be about the Mayan culture, but some of the like sacrifices that they do are more Mexica. So it's they add that for the spice value, I guess. Yeah. There's also like I don't know, a tribe that doesn't know that there's a giant civilization right next to them of other Mayans. It's just silly, especially when they speak the same language. There's also a shot in the movie where this girl has smallpox. Smallpox didn't come until the Spanish came, and this is pre-Spanish contact. Yeah. So it's like, and there's just a lot of other things that were kind of just wrong about it, but visually stunning. Like it looked fantastic. Like and they got the Mayan language down pretty well. So in that regard, it's cool. But but if I had to have a music video, it would look something like that. Really cool.
I wish that had bloody happened. Yeah, that's I understood that given it was a Hollywood film, that there would be huge historical inaccuracies with it outside of the narrative.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just that little girl. I remember seeing that little girl, and at the time, gosh, she reminded my wife's Filipino Croatian. Her family, they're a blend, half and half. And God, that little girl looks so much like my sister-in-law at the same age. And it's it's like, sorry, it's another point, but every time I see that little girl, I'm like, whoa, So, but are there any other films in that genre that you recommend to people if they're curious about some more background?
There's a really good kind of obscure one. Actually, you know what? If I had to pick how a video would look, it would be this movie. It's called Journey to Aslan, but it's in Spanish, and it's a pre-Hispanic movie. So it just takes place. It's a story in Mesoamerica without the Spanish or anything. So it's all spoken in the Nahuatl language.
Oh wow!
It's kind of a cool dark movie. I would say that's a good one. There's another movie called The Load, and that's a really good one. It's about like the Mexica had like these people that since they didn't have wheels in Mesoamerica, what they would do is when they would transport like goods and like a lot of goods, they would put it on these people that would carry it. But they wouldn't just carry it; they would run. They would basically like a marathon to get it to wherever it needed to as fast as possible. Yeah. And it kind of follows that one does have the Spanish in it, and it's a really cool story. Those stories are really good. And then oh man, yeah, I don't know. I think those are the ones that come to mind. And then there's one on the Spanish conquest called Hernan. It's on Apple. That one did a pretty good job at telling both sides, the indigenous account as well as the Spanish account. And visually it was great. Yeah, I'd urge people to check that out.
Is your personal heritage, is it a mix of indigenous and Spanish?
It's a different indigenous groups, and then of course like Spanish. Yeah, my mother's more predominantly like Spanish. My dad's more predominantly like the indigenous. They come from his family is from Zacatecas, this little town called Nochislan, and so there's actually the tribe the tribes that were in that region were known as the Chichimeca. The one specifically is from that town or that area was called the Kashkanas and the Zacatecos. And the second single on the album is called Chichimeca, and that's to kind of pay homage to the tribe where where my family kind of derives from, essentially. And the cool thing about the Chichimecas were they were never conquered by the Spanish. Spanish had to do treaties with them because they were just like very fierce warriors. Even the Mexica kind of knew not to tribal with them because they definitely stood on business, But also you go back, years and years. The Chichimecas are I mean, the Mexica come from kind of the Chichimecas. They were nomadic kind of hunter gatherers before they were the Mexica, and then before they settled in the Valley of Mexico, they were kind of part of like the loose nomadic tribes known as the Chichimecas. So yes, a lot of cool history there. And yeah, that's essentially where my family is from. Like like me and my dad's side of the family were all very, very, very close. So yeah, I kind of like, I didn't really see my mom's family that much, but we were definitely like more involved with my dad's side. So a lot of the traditions that we got from them are the ones that are like more instilled in me, and kind of identified more with my dad's side of the family than I did my mom's. And even though I love my family on my mom's side, but it's just, I saw my dad's side of the family way more. So it's just way more ingrained in me.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Are you still Catholic?
No, hell no. Hell no. Yeah, well, once I hit about like, I don't even know, like 19, 20 years old, and I started to kind of like, I mean, I started kind of getting upset with the church. I mean, I've been upset with the church for many years, but I would say like around 19 is when I started to become like vehemently like, yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm starting to kind of like discover myself. And I would say like around 21, 22 is when I started like kind of discovering like more, digging deeper into like the roots of, like the indigenous side. And then of course you learn about like the true history of things that unfolded when, you kind of start digging and stuff. And the subjugation that the church put on like indigenous people on the continent was just trash. So yeah, it kind of like helped me. And then like I was also questioning like the faith, not just the church. And I would still kind of consider myself agnostic, not completely atheist. Just more so because I do kind of believe in like the energies of things. And I just don't believe that there's just one dude in the sky looking over everyone. I think it's a culmination of, energies within the world, especially within the nature and stuff like that. So like, I would say it's more of like I guess like pagan. Like I definitely worship more of like the nature side. Of course, the ancestors too. I just kind of pay homage to all of that, not just one type of God that doesn't exist. In my opinion.
Yeah, it sounds like as though you got your roots in the Christian faith because of how you grew up and the rites and rituals you were exposed to in that way. But you're like me in that you're agnostic, and I'll explain. With ayahuasca, I've actually become not everybody, so I shouldn't say that, but these idiots are out there demonizing ayahuasca and saying that you'll open yourself up to demonic possession, all this bullshit, and all the rest of it. The usual stuff that gets said about it opens your mind, and then these people claim, "Oh, I did 20 trips," and I'm like, "Well, if you did 20 trips, you're an idiot because it's not about how many you do. You can do
exactly.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with volume. Some people do one, and that's it. It's all they need for their life,
Mm-hmm.
But I've been brought closer to God. But I can also the paradox for me that and it wasn't an issue for me beforehand, but I just see all of these religious artifacts as pathways back to God. So whether that be through whatever denomination of the Christian church or through any of the manifestations of God in the Hindu religion, such as Lord Krishna, you're really just being asked to lead a decent life ultimately, and to do what others have done, do unto you, and find that spiritual pathway within yourself. Because if you do find that, you don't do any wrong. It's impossible. Because you do things like you give up alcohol and you just find yourself more in tune with wanting to be in nature. It just naturally happens. Instead of wanting to go to the mall, if people still want to do that bullshit, you end up going for a bushwalk or a trail hike in California instead, or what have you. And that's how I found that the more profound influence of this journeying, this shamanic journeying that I've been doing has affected me. And it's interesting getting your take on it because you're so connected with your culture.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say I could be more connected. I do feel like over the span of, I want to say like 20 years, like our family has become a little bit more we've always been like American because most of them were born here in America, but I don't know, not that our traditions are going away, but stuff's kind of become a little bit more Americanized for them.
Yeah.
And I don't really follow that kind of thing. I'm not really like a gung-ho, patriot. That's not my thing. Especially just knowing like history and stuff like that. I think most people that have read history would choose otherwise, especially someone that's native, indigenous. And but yeah, I'm also just kind of if just live and let live, kind of, just like, hey, some certain people could do their thing. I'm going to continue to do mine. And whether that be family or, anybody, just things are what they are,
Indeed. And look, we're in a year where there's an American presidential election, and you're worldly enough to understand how much that affects the entire world. It's a fraction of the influence is felt in the United States, but it affects foreign policy and the way that other countries then conduct diplomacy. As I say, I'm sure you're aware of all of these things. So have you got an opinion on the way things are at the moment?
Man, it's embarrassing. To be honest with you, I don't want to go off on a whole tangent, but yeah, in my opinion, it's kind of embarrassing to be an American, and it's just there's just too much shit that we influence that we have no business like being involved in, and it's silly. Like we're the richest country in the world, but we want to meddle in other people's affairs instead of just take care of our own people. It's just silly. I don't want to go too much into it because the interviews been nice and friendly, and this is just talking about this kind of shit pisses me off, man. Especially like with this, I'm just not it's just it's just embarrassing what's going on right now with all that America's doing.
Yeah, I also think it's important though too if you've got an opinion that you share it. That's part of the issue too. Too many
Yeah.
musicians I think self-censor, and I've experienced
Oh
it
yeah.
often because I talk politics all the time. I break all the taboos. There's no sacred cows on my show. We talk
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
religion, nationhood, the whole thing, and that's the difference or Christianity, religion. It's all in there, and it just
Yeah.
gives
Yeah.
people another perspective. And yeah, by all means, if you're encouraged to share your opinion, but if you don't want to, no worries whatsoever. It's I love America. You know that people across the world love America.
Oh yeah.
I in particular have, and I know this because I was a young death metalhead in Los Angeles, mate. The only fucking people that would talk to me were the people, Latin American people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're very welcoming. We're very, um, I would say most of us, and not all of us, but I would say most of us are very eager to like meet people from other backgrounds in different countries and kind of get a get a feel for them, kind of show them how we rock with people, and definitely I that doesn't surprise me, and yeah, LA. Like I said, there's a lot of us here. There's a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Chicanos, which is our Mexican Americans,
Yeah.
and a lot of Central Americans. So we're here, and we're all very welcoming people, and we like to have a good time. So like if you're having a good time, we're gonna have a good time. Like we definitely like to put that kind of vibe out. And yeah, it's just yeah, this world is kind of on a weird trajectory. And a lot of it has to do with our country, unfortunately.
But it is a great country, the United States, in that it's made up of these different people. And as I say, like I hated my experience in LA wasn't positive for that reason. This is like year 2000, right? I had hair down to here, and I was walking around in Megadeth t-shirts and stuff, and mate, white and black people would not talk to me at all, just nothing. Like I'd ask for directions, and they'd be like, "Go away from me, you piece of shit." This sort of thing.
Yeah.
Who are you? Where are you from? Go away. I only connected with people like late at night in the bars, like these Mexican fellas were getting off work from their cleaning gigs or whatever it was that they were doing. They were in, like, I'd say cleaning gigs because they literally had the outfit on it, said that on it. So they were just playing pool and shit, and fucking good company, man. That's what I remember about.
Yeah.
And they were Slayer fans as well, and we were able to fantastic conversations. Then randomly I met Max Cavalera in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel there.
Okay.
Like, wow, that's
really cool.
Yeah, I had a full-blown experience. Yeah.
Yeah. I know around that time he was actually in LA a lot. Because I think like that's when like Soulfly started popping off. So like they were like I think at that time they may have been based out of LA. That doesn't surprise me. That's actually really cool. But yeah, you go to metal shows here, metal shows, punk shows, hardcore shows. It's, I mean, a majority of the people in the crowd are brown people. And it's just fun. And we, like I said, we all like to have a good time. We like to kind of, we definitely like to share those good experiences with people, especially if they're not from the area, or from out of state, out of country, wherever. We definitely like to kind of like show them a good time and treat them good. Very welcoming. We're very welcoming.
I agree with you, mate. It was the same in Miami too. It was, as you know, what Miami's like. I think as a native English speaker, I think I'm like 2 in 10. There's only 20% that are native English speakers. I think that was a statistic that was given to us anyway.
Yeah.
Talking to people, but mate, I met, it was the only issue I found, which is a very minor one, which was that a lot of people who'd recently arrived from Central and South America couldn't understand my accent.
Okay.
So I had to sort of speak like, I'm used to speaking like this a little bit because my wife's family being Filipino. When you go to the Philippines, you have to talk like that just a little bit occasionally because they can't understand what we're saying either sometimes.
Yeah.
But it was great. I don't drink anymore, so I didn't go to the bars. But all my experiences just going to the local supermarket or whatever else like that, it felt like what it used to feel like when you went to the States, where people were interested that you're from Australia, and there was, your differences make you interesting all of a sudden, and that was a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I always keep that in mind when I like I don't do it so much anymore, but when I used to travel abroad, like with my other band, I mean, I loved like just kind of like immersing myself in other people's cultures just for a little bit, because I, who knows when I'm going to be back there, and
Yeah.
it's also to kind of be respectful of the ground that I'm walking on too. Um, I'm not from there. Like I have no like intent on like trying to disrespect the place. I want to like learn like who, I want to learn about the people that brought us here.
Yeah.
They want to see us play, but I also want to like learn about them and kind of get to know them on like a deeper level. And yeah, I think that's the coolest thing about traveling and visiting places with new places. It's the coolest shit, man. It's the coolest
It is
shit.
cool, yeah. But there is some just to go a bit deeper on the topic for a moment. There is some kind of symbiosis between Latin American culture and Australia. I don't know what it is. Now I'll explain. My godson's
Mhm.
father is Afro-Brazilian, and so we're good mates. And there's a lot of Brazilians. I don't know whether you know this, but there are a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Brazilians, a lot of Colombians in Australia, especially here on the Gold Coast, surfing culture. So it's like
Okay.
a bit like Florida here. I suppose Florida or Sydney's like San Diego, because I've been to San Diego. It's like shit. It reminds me of Sydney, but
It kind of does. It kind of does.
yeah,
I've been
it's
to Sydney.
bizarre because the trees are the same and there's gum trees everywhere. I felt like I was in Lake Cove National Park or something. It was weird.
Yeah,
Um,
I felt like Melbourne was kind of like Seattle, like just
yeah,
without all the lush greenery.
bleak, bloody Melbourne. God help me. Most of my Australian listeners are from Melbourne, so God bless them. But good place, but it's freezing and the weather's shit.
Oh yeah, yeah. We went during the summer, so it was pretty hot there. But I love Melbourne mostly because of disembowelment, like, and then we had some really cool shows when I played there with my other band. I just liked I liked the city. I went to my first rugby game down there, footy, and oh man, I had a killer time.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I'm glad. Which band were you touring in then?
I was with Shababa. This was in 2014, I want to say. I think 14 or 15. But
Okay, great.
yeah, it was awesome. We were there for 2 weeks. Yeah, it was. I had a blast. We wrapped up in Melbourne, so we were in Melbourne for like four or 5 days, just kind of hanging out. No, I would say like maybe like 3 or 4, and we just kind of kicking it around and just like chilling. We played at this like metal bar that was there. That was really cool. We got a couple nights where we just got really plastered there and had a good old time. Yeah, had a good old time, man. It was fun.
Yeah, you got to do that. No, that's great. No, that was going to be one of my questions, actually. Have you been here before, and can you support any of my comments about there being some similarity? Because I just find that there is. It's just been the easiest thing for me. Whereas if I go to other parts of the United States, I just notice people aren't as nice to me. That's all. So,
Yeah. I would definitely say that there is a similarities. I mean, most of the Australian people that we came across, I'd say like 98% were just so friendly, so welcoming. And yeah, it kind of did remind us of back home. When you go to like a new friend's house and
yeah,
their family just kind of like, oh, like we come, like, let us feed you, let us get you a drink, let's take care of you. It was definitely like that in Australia, and it was fun. We met a lot of different different people. Like we met some like this one guy in Melbourne. Actually, he had flew in from New Zealand. He was Maori. Great guy. Guy was fun to party with. Very, very welcoming too. Yeah, I had so many good experiences with everyone. It was just an overall fun tour, fun trip. Yeah, it was excellent.
do you reckon you'll be able to bring this band down here?
I mean, I'd like to. We don't really play that much, but and like I said, it's kind of hard to get like wrangle up like 9 people or 8 to 9 to 10 people, whatever. But I mean, I definitely like to do like shows here and there, and if something comes up and we're able to do it, it's just a little hard for us at our age too, because
Yeah.
a lot of bands, or excuse me, a lot of our members have active bands that they're in,
Yeah.
and I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and also the ones that don't have active bands have families that they take care of and
Yeah.
have work schedules. So it's just a lot of things. And
Yeah.
but I mean, I'd like to. That's definitely not off the table. Like I definitely want to get down there again, either with my other band or with this one. Like I'll definitely be down there again.
Yeah, I'd love to see you guys live, man. It would be. This type of underground extreme music is enduringly popular despite mainstream narratives, and the types of people that both create it and get into it. You just made my point. We're completely fucking normal. Families,
Yeah,
jobs,
yeah,
all the rest of it. There used to be this view that we're all up with the vampires or whatever it might be, or serial killers, secret serial killers, or what have you. But one of the reasons why I believe it's enduringly popular is because it's an artifact of our everyday. We don't separate it from all of our other responsibilities. You can tell I'm a musician if you can see all the shit behind.
yeah. I can see your cases and stuff.
Yeah, we never stop, do we? It's just part of who we are, in addition to the actual responsibilities we've got, such as being a parent and paying a mortgage or rent and doing our jobs. And you're just another great example of it.
Yeah. I mean, if we want to like get deeper into something like that, I mean, I work a job that pays pretty decent. It doesn't pay the best. I could probably get a job that pays the best, but I feel like it would kind of take away from what I do when I'm not working, which is write music and play music. I definitely like I don't know, it's work, so I don't want to take it too serious. I don't want to like focus all of my good energy into that when I can focus all that into writing music and stuff like that. So like I've always kind of gotten jobs that where once I leave the office, I'm not dwelling on what just happened at the office. It's like once I'm out, I'm not thinking about it, because I have to shift my focus to playing music, writing music, and I just and then plus I'm not gonna fucking sell my soul to a corporation that don't give a shit about me. So I would rather focus my hard work into music. And when it comes to like music, like I do my due diligence. I feel like I work very hard to kind of like create what I do, and it's constant like trial and error. Like that shit adds up too. Like there's a lot of work that goes into making music, and I would much rather focus like that hard work into that instead of people that don't care about me. So that's where I stand on that. And just yeah.
Brother, I think if more people understood that and did what you just described, we'd have less fuckwittery, less road rage, less bullshit, less online trolls, because people would have realised that their lives don't revolve around their shit of a job that pays for their shit of a house, for their bullshit cars and all the rest of it, which mean absolutely nothing in the grander scheme of things. It's just not impressive if you own a Mercedes. It means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It says nothing about your character. All it says is that you chose to spend way more money than I ever would on a fucking car.
Oh yeah. It's like I would never tell people how to live their life, but it's like, man, there's probably so much more to your identity if you dig and you do the work, instead of just a fucking cool car and like a sick ass salary. I don't know. I think that there's just more to life than just work. Like it's cool if you want to be proud of the work you do. I mean, but just don't make it your whole identity, especially when it's for companies that don't care about you.
No,
there's no loyalty there. There's literally no loyalty between a corporation and the human. The worker. There's no loyalty there. So your loyalties with your family, your loyalties with your friends, and you should put your work and your loyalty into something that you enjoy doing, some kind of art, like. And if you're into cars, I'm like, well, fuck, there's racing. There's people that fucking build cars from scratch that end up being fucking beautiful. You know, like there's so many cool like art forms in the world. Like there's no shortage of art forms. Like, you know, I would definitely encourage people to do something like that, and, you know, not give their blood, sweat, and tears to making some other fucking schmuck some money, you know.
Truer words have not been spoken, that's for sure. There you go. You know, I better leave it there, brother. But just before I let you go, for people to find your music, people can download it, I get that, but in terms of how they can best support you, I've seen you've got some killer vinyl there. Unfortunately, the Mexican flag vinyl is sold out.
Yeah, that one's sold out.
But the rest of it is still there. Where can they go?
Yeah, I mean, a $20 spin. The website, I think it's just $20spin.com. We have shirts on there. You know, that there's a vinyl. There's an El Salvadoran flag, which is to pay homage to you know, my Salvadoran brothers. You know, they're indigenous as well. Plus my one of our percussionists, and he plays drums in my other band, Jason. He's El Salvadoran, so kind of to pay homage to him, and, you know, being a good friend. So there's the El Salvadoran variant. There's a couple other cool variants that look just as sick on the $20 spin website. We had a merch store on Holy Mountain, but I've been so busy with bands PR stuff and just band stuff in general that I haven't had a chance to kind of re-up on the merch. But we'll have some like official Tzompantli merch store that goes more so directly to me. But yeah, if you follow us on Instagram or Twitter, it's at Tzompantli Doom. Definitely just follow those, and we'll, you know, keep you up to date on what's cracking with us, you know.
You heard the men, people. Beating the Drums of Ancestral Force, one of the albums of the year so far. Killer effort,
Thank
mate.
you.
I look forward to our next chat whenever the next release is out. So
Yeah.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic chat today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. I appreciate your time, brother. Thank you for having me. I, you know, appreciate you considering and having me on.
Well, there you go. More tales from the underground. What a tremendous fella. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Brian Ortiz, whose stage name is Itztlakamayeh, from the group Tzompantli. Okay. There's plenty more conversations over at scarsandguitars.com. I'll get it out. Go and investigate. I'll leave it up to you, but just a few carrots to dangle. Got some Carcass, some Megadeth, Death, Deicide, Obituary, Morbid Angel. They're all over there. Members from those bands, go and check it out. If you love extreme metal, well, that's my specialty, is the conversations featuring the members of all of these wonderful bands. All right, that's it from me. My name's Andrew Mackay Smith, and I'm the host of Scars and Guitars. Until the next one, it's a goodbye for now.